It is time for the May update for Pan That Palette, which, first of all, how? Where has this year gone? I'm literally baffled. I am working on two eyeshadow palettes if you're new to this project pan. So I'm working on my very grubby Modern Renaissance palette. This was my Pan That palette for 2024 and I'm trying to finish this year. And then I also have a custom BYOP. I'm going to cover it up because we do have some amazing progress in this today. This isn't my main focus and I'm sure I'll speak more about this in this update, but I've kind of had a revelation, I guess, in the past month about this palette. And to be honest, I'm not looking to finish this palette. I'm just looking to kind of use it, use up some shades, maybe hit some pans. But yeah, I'll definitely go more in depth about my realization this month. But just before we do jump into the update, if you have not already, like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I upload every single day here on my YouTube channel. I love bright, fun, colorful makeup, as you can probably tell today. I normally try and use my Pan That palettes in their updates. However, I am using the Titanium Fox's Poppy Storm palette today. I love get ready with me's and all that kind of stuff, hitting pans, you know the drill. So if that sounds like a good time to you, then definitely stick around. And as always, everything on my face, as well as everything that I talk about, will be linked down below. So if you see something that takes your fancy, you know exactly where to find it. So with that being said, I'm going to jump straight into it. And I am going to start with Modern Renaissance, I think. Now, Modern Renaissance has been a little bit of a problem child this year. I feel like all the way through 2024, we were getting amazing progress every single month. But I feel like from January to now, I've not really had much progress on this, even though I've been working so hard on this palette. However, I feel like things are about to change because I feel like this month, I've actually expanded the pans on all of these shades by quite a lot. So let me know what you think. But this is what the palette looked like last month. You could see we only had 4 shades remaining in this palette. So we were so close to finishing it. It was just the last final stretch. All of the shades had pretty big pans on them as well. And I had mentioned last month that I had found a way of using all of these shades as a blush mixed together. And I was also using Realgar and a different shade as a bronzer as well. So I was really excited coming into this month because I knew I was going to be able to use these a hell of a lot. And spoiler alert, I definitely have. This is what the palette looks like today, and I'm really, really excited about this. I feel like Bon Fresco especially has been expanded so much, and I finally, for the first time in quite a long time, have a bit of hope for this palette, because if this is not done by the end of the year, I'm gonna cry. But I feel like we can do it. I feel like for the first time this year, I have some significant progress. Here we go. This is the palette. I'm very, very happy about this. I will put above what the palette looks like last month, as always. I feel, as I said, finally okay with this. I feel like finally we've got some pan expansion. It just did not move for the whole first half of this year. It just looked the same, and I was getting really, really down about this. I was getting really, really burnt out, but I think that stagnant time is over, and I'm hoping now that we have really, really good progress throughout the next part of the year. So I'm going to go through all the shades as always. So let's start with Bon Fresco, and this has definitely expanded. All down this part did not have pan on last month, so I'm really, really excited about that. I've been using this, of course, as a blush. I just take a big blush brush and tap in to all 4 of the shades, and that is what I'm using as my blush today. So that, of course, gets loads and loads of use, but I've also rolled in a shade in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project that goes so beautifully with this shade as well. So I'm definitely using it as an eyeshadow a lot. So I use this 16 times this month for a total of 63 uses in the project, and I'm hoping you can see this side especially is really, really shallow in this pan. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to get this done pretty soon. I'm thinking that Bon Fresco is going to be my focus shade for the coming month. I really want to just get this done. I feel like this is the closest shade to being done, and especially with the new shade in my Pan Those Eyeshadow series, I feel like it is the perfect opportunity to just go for it. There is a cool tone shade in my next Pan That palette that I've actually finished, so it's not competing for cool tone shades anymore. It is the only cool tone shade that I am trying to finish, so I mean, little spoiler there, but definitely stick around. I'm really happy with this progress, and I feel like Bon Fresco is the bit of a star of the show right now, and I'm just so excited to hopefully get loads of progress next month. I will go through in-depth goals at the end, so definitely stick around for that, but for right now, that is Bon Fresco, and let's move on to Love Letter. So I did have a bit of hard pan on the top of Love Letter last month. I did decide to just scrape that off because I was not getting anywhere with it. And since then, I do feel like this progress is a lot better. It looks a lot better in the pan. It looks a bit neater. And I don't have that weird hard pan anymore. So I have used this 13 times this month for a total of 84 uses in the project. Hopefully this pan has expanded a little bit. I'm not too sure. Let me know if you think it's expanded down below. This is definitely my least favorite shade left in the palette. I'm not really a pink person, but I mean, we're coming into summer now. Hopefully it's going to be a lot warmer weather. That is definitely more appropriate for these bright pink shades. So who knows, maybe in the future this is going to be really used and abused because of the bright sunny weather. Next I have Red Ochre. I have used this 15 times this month for a total of 80 uses in the project. We're really getting up into these big numbers now, and I just hope it doesn't take too long to finish this because it is like it's getting a little bit like, oh, okay, final stretch, you know? This I feel like has the most product left in it, which is interesting, but I do like this shade, to be honest. I do think it goes really, really well with my eye colour, and it also goes really well with a different shade in my Pan Those Eyeshadows as well. It is part of one of the work looks that I do. I put this in the crease and then I blend it out with Bon Fresco, and it's actually this shade. I have it next to me. This is the shade Venus, which is in my Pan Those Eyeshadows, and I put this shade with these two shades in the palette. So maybe I'll do that look a lot more as well, but that is one of the many looks that I do with this palette every single month. I will say I'm starting to feel like I'm not being creative with this palette anymore because obviously I only have 4 shades and I've been using them for a year and 5 months now, which is crazy, but I wanna just get it done so bad. And finally, Realgar. This has expanded, I'm pretty sure. I have used this 22 times this month for a total of 106 uses in the project. We have hit that 100 uses goal. Oh my goodness me, look at this. This, as I said, is used in the blush combination, and how I'm using it today as well as that is I mix Realgar and Pug, which is a cool tone taupey shade from my other Pan That palette, and I use that as a bronzer, and that is what I'm using. Spoiler, for the last time today. So this is like double use every day. It's been worked hard, and I'm hoping that the usage just continues to expand the pan and hopefully get it done very soon. So let's talk weights for the Modern Renaissance. So last month this weighed 178.63 grams, and this month it weighs 178 grams exactly, meaning we lost 0.63 grams this month, which is great. That is the most weight loss of this year so far, so I'm very happy about that. I do put it down to using it as a blush, using it as cheek products, as well as eye products. So let's talk goals. Next month, I think I really want to just focus on Bon Fresco as much as humanly possible. I think I can get rid of all of this bottom side of Bon Fresco. If I can do that, I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to be using it with Love Letter. I'm going to be using it with Red Ochre. I don't really think it works too well with Realgar, but who knows? Maybe I'll just try and give it a go for the, lols. I am, of course, going to be keeping on doing my blush hack with this palette, trying to even down the pans. I think with the blush hack, it doesn't expand the pan so much, but it does make the product a lot less thick in the pan. So I'm hoping that in the long run, that'll be a really, really good idea. I can definitely tell that the product is a lot further down in the pan. It's definitely not as full, so that's good, but I just really want to get this done now. I'm at the point of the year where it's like, okay, enough. I originally wanted to have this whole thing done by next month. That's not going to be happening. But slowly. It's slowly creeping forward. Okay, so let's move on to my singles palette. This was originally my Soph X Revolution palette, but then I just got really bored of that like 2 months into the year, and I decided to just change out a bunch of shades, and now I'm just having a singles palette. So this is what it looked like last month. You can see we had pan in quite a few of the shades, and I was really happy with the progress that I was making. I had just switched out the blue shade into What's the Tea from J Star. It was originally a different blue, which I didn't like very much. So I'm still kind of playing around and testing the water, even though we are 5 months in. And this is what it looks like today. Hopefully you can see the star of the show. We have an empty pan in the shade Pug. And I have said for quite a while, since the start of this project, that Pug is definitely going to be the first shade that is used up. And as you can see, it is. Look at this palette. It's pretty dirty. Let me clean this because that's nasty. Okay, that's as good as we're getting right now. Look at this palette. Look at this shade. It is gone completely. I just blew that and everything came out. But I'm so happy with this progress. Now, before I get into the uses and the weights and all that kind of stuff, I want to just take a minute to talk about this palette. I'm not wanting to finish this whole thing in the next year or the next 7 months, which is crazy to say. I am just using this as a bit of a companion palette, I think, as a bit of a, let's use it for the year, see how much progress we can make. I'm not going to be rolling this into next year if I don't finish it. It is just a nice palette to work on over the next few months. I think that Modern Renaissance is like my Pan That palette for this year as well. It's the main Pan That palette for this year. This is just a play palette, and that's okay, and that's fine. If I don't hit pan on all the shades, if I don't finish all the shades, that is completely fine. I'm not going to be too, worked up. Every month, I'm not going to be making crazy, ridiculous goals on this. I think Modern Renaissance takes up my life, and if I want to use this, then that's great as well. So let's talk about uses. Let's talk this shade first. This is the shade Ranch. I've used this 8 times this month for a total of 18 uses in the project. And we have expanded the pan a little bit, I think, very, very minutely. But the dip is definitely less like harsh. The dip is more kind of slopey instead of a tunnel. So I'm glad about that. It's just a nice everyday inner corner shade. Nothing special, really. Let's talk about Pug, or what was Pug. I have used this 12 times this month for a total of 30 uses to completely use this up. This was my favorite shade in the palette, so I'm a little bit gutted now that it's gone, to be honest, but I knew that this was going to be the first shade gone. We had a massive pan in it last month, and it is empty. It is completely gone. You will be missed. I did mix this with Realgar, which was the bright orange in the Modern Renaissance, to use as a bronzer. Not anymore, not anymore. But I'm gonna miss this, to be honest. And I am a bit worried about this shade here, which is the shade Vixen. So it goes really well with Pug, and that's why I put it in this palette to go with Pug. And now obviously we don't have Pug. So I don't know what's happening there, but I actually have not used Vixen this month. I've used it 3 times in the project. So, I mean, I guess I'm not using it anyway. So what's the big deal, Maybe I can try and use it with Bonfresco, because that, as I said, is the only cool toned kind of transition shade that I'm working on right now. So I don't know. I'll have to play around. I'll have to see. I don't really know. Next we have Prowl. You can see this has not been used, and like I said last month, this is my focus dark brown shade. This is the shade Rosewood and Mug Cakes from the Soph X Revolution palette mixed together. Once I finish this, then I will work on this. This is still waiting in the wings. This is my star of my life right now. I am trying so hard to get this finished. This is my everyday brow shade and just a deepening up shade whenever I need it. I really want to finish this. It is taking so long. But once this is done, then I will move on to this. I'm going to use this every day in my brows. I'm going to really, really go for that shade as soon as this is finished. But until this is finished, this is not going to be used. I went through that last month and it's still the case. So I'm not too worried about that. Next, I have the shade Rose Quartz here. I do have a pan in this, but it already had pan at the start of this project. I've used this 2 times this month for a total of 5 uses. It's really, really nice with this shade as well. So that's amazing. I'm learning to use this in lots of different looks. It goes really well with Realgar as well. So I'm very happy. I'm just going to keep on using this and hope for the best. Next, I have Tiger's Eye. I've used this 1 time this month for a total of 1 use in the project. As you can see, this palette is definitely not the focus of my life. This is just, I use it when I want to use it. You know, it's one of those. It's going to be one of those project pan years that are a bit all over the place. I definitely need to plan better next year. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's fine. Hopefully I can use it a bit more in the coming month, but I'm not going to be making super mad goals for this palette. Next, I have the shade Sunlight. I have used this 2 times for a total of 3 uses in the project. This as well goes really well with Cup of Tea and all those kind of shades. Realgar as well, it goes beautifully with. I do actually have a bit of a dip in this, which is amazing. I'm really glad about that. Maybe we can have pan on this soon. That would be so fun. It has like a greeny reflect to it, which honestly brings a look to life. I love anything like that. Cup of Tea, I've used this 2 times this month for a total of 10 uses. I have put this on the back burner again because of Realgar. They are very similar shades. Realgar is a bit more saturated. This is a bit more everyday, but still I think it's not going to take long to finish it once I really start focusing on it, because it is really thin in this pan, and I honestly think like 1 month of really consistent use will have this out. I don't know if I want to do that next month or if I want to do that when Realgar is finished. I'm not too sure yet. I think I'm going to prioritize Modern Renaissance in every way until it's finished, you know? That's where my head is right now. Next I have, let me look behind my mic because it's blocking my way. This is Pink Champagne. I've used this 3 times this month for a total of 35 uses in the project. I did hit pan in this project and I think I'm gonna really start focusing on this. I've been in a bit of a weird rut with my inner corner highlight. I've just been using a face highlight and I need to stop doing that because I have inner corner highlights in this palette that need using. I don't know where my brain's been at over the past month, but it's just not been on this palette at all. Next I have What's the Tea, and this was rolled in last month. I've only used it 1 time for a total of 1 use in the project pan. But again, this is one of those shades, I think I could have this out in a few months. It's very, very thin in the pan. It has been repressed, so I'm not too fussed about that. Pine Tree, I have used 1 time for a total of 5 uses in the project. And finally, Nightmare, I have used this 4 times this month for a total of 48 uses in the project. And you can definitely see this pan has expanded. It does get a bit crumbly, so I might have to repress this sometime soon. I don't want a repeat of my rides here, which was the last black eyeshadow that I was panning. I had the biggest pan on that and then it just crumbled and exploded everywhere. So I don't want a repeat of that. So weights for this palette. Last month we weighed 144.84 grams and this month we weigh 144.14 grams, meaning we lost 0.70 grams. I think that's really, really good, actually. That is, again, the most, not quite the most weight loss in this project. The first month we finished 0.74 grams. So we're 0.04 grams away from beating the goal, which I think is really, really good. I think, obviously, having Pug finished is a massive part of that. And I'm casually, this is a casual palette. This is a very chill, it's there if I want it kind of palette. I'm not saying to myself, this has to be finished. I need less stress, not more. As long as this is finished, I'm counting this year as a win. And I know it's not too much of an achievement because there's only 4 shades in this. There was 5 at the start of this year, so I finished 1, which is good, but hopefully I really, really want Bon Fresco done. So next month, I'm just going to set very loose goals for this. I want to use the inner corners in here instead of just using a face highlight, because I don't know why I've started doing that. I don't know. I want to maybe start playing around with Vixen because of Bon Fresco. I think that'd be really good. If I'm playing around with Bon Fresco, Pink Champagne is also going to be very, very used. I'm hoping so anyway. Maybe using this black as a wing a little bit more as well. Just trying to use it, you know, just trying to use it, making sure that I'm not neglecting it too much. I think if I manage to do that, then that's a win. But hey, it's a massive win for this month, having 1 finished shade. I'm so excited. I'm trying not to take away too much from that because the rest of the palette really hasn't been used that much. And I am aware of that. I know that, but whatever. So this is it. These are my 2 palettes. What do you think? Do you think I can get a good pan expansion on Bon Fresco this month? Let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts. And also, sorry, I should have said this at the start. So a lot of people every month always say, oh, just depot these and put them into my singles palette. I'm not going to do that. I did talk about this a few months ago, but maybe some people didn't see that update. I want to finish this as a palette. I've been working on this as a palette for over a year and 5 months. I just want to finish this as a palette, see it gone as a palette. And that's why I'm not going to be repressing it. So I just wanted to say that. I know a few people who have seen every single update did reply to those comments saying that. So thank you so much. It just saves me a bit of a job. But if you're wondering why I'm not just repressing them into my singles, that's why. So this is it. This is where I'm going to love you and leave you guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, like and subscribe. How are you doing on your Pan That Palette progress? Let everyone know down below. I love hearing your progress. But with that being said, this is it for this video, and I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Bye bye!